is up? Welcome back to our channel. Once again, it's me, your bearded bro, QuickSilver 15, back with another video. And today we'll be reviewing a movie that will definitely leave you shocked. And of course, it's the long-awaited Thor Love and Thunder. So, Thor Love and Thunder. Actually, I feel that Thor Love and Thunder will be viewed by three types of people. One being a long-time comic book nerd like me. Second will be, casual MCU fans. And of course, the third will be kids. And as a comic book fan, first of all, I love the Thor God Butcher story arc of Thor, and it will probably go down in history as one of the best, and it will, as one of the best Thor comic book arcs of all time. That is just that good, and the repercussions of that storyline just transformed the landscape of the Marvel Universe, period. It gave us, Gorr, and of course the Necro Sword, which connects to other characters, Null and symbiotes. Of course, I'm not sure if they will go that far because mechanics-wise, in Thor Love and Thunder, the Necro Sword actually kills or has a negative effect on Gorr, but symbiotes, on the other hand, should not give you negative. It will give you positive, life-prolonging benefits, like, of course, in Venom. And again, in Thor Love and Thunder, I think they did Gorr a huge disservice. Maybe it's a director mismatch. Taika Waititi's humor is definitely prevalent in this movie. So the problem is, in times where the movie is meant to be serious, it doesn't give the same impact as it should have. Like, for example, in the comics, I was expecting there to be a lot more brutality in regards with Gorr, because he is a very violent and angry god-slaying creature, and it just seemed a bit lacking. It seemed a bit lackluster or lackluster. But I expected more violence with the Gorr scenes, but it's been kind of Disney-fied for a younger audience, and I think that again that is a mismatch for the story that Gorr should be in. Although Christian Bale does an excellent job as Gorr, I really don't know why they made him humanoid. He should look more alien, but then again, it kind of something with regards to the ending that we won't spoil, but maybe it's because of that. Sadly, they didn't give Gorr really a God Butcher status. He is more like a generic MCU villain with a little bit of a sadder backstory, which is, it's kind of a nice touch. I like that they did that, but it felt cheap. It felt cheap the way they did it, and they could have done Gorr more justice with a better storyline. Maybe a storyline just focusing on him. Maybe in this series, maybe they could have just focused on Jane Foster's story arc with regards to Thor, and then kind of hinted at Gorr for the follow-up movie. But I digress. I don't know what MCU is planning. Such a shame they wasted such an iconic Thor villain. So moving on to Natalie Portman's story arc. She is obviously, if you've seen any sort of trailer, then you know that she is in possession of Mjolnir, and if you are confused to why this is so, there is also a comic book art, Mighty Thor, and it is referenced over and over in this movie that it is, again, if you're not into comics, you probably don't know, so we won't go too much into detail. But yeah, she has a sickness, and Mjolnir is able to, actually in the comics, it is able to cure her, quote unquote, cure her, or remove her pain when she transforms into Thor. But then again, they tried a different mechanic in this movie. And I know Natalie Portman is also great, same as Christian Bale as Gorr. Although I believe they weren't really utilized to their full potential, at least the characters of Gorr and female Thor / Mighty Thor is kind of, you know, pretty watered down compared to what we had in the comics. Although Mighty Thor wasn't exactly the best version of Thor, and it was a time where Marvel was just let's make all our greatest heroes female for some reason. Yeah, a lot of fans were, you know, some loved it, some don't. I really didn't mind at all. I think it was a cool idea they were trying to explore with Mighty Thor. But yeah, the setup for that in the comics, where Thor was suddenly unworthy of Mjolnir, and it was a whole thing with Nick Fury, and I think that wouldn't fit in this version with Samuel Jackson's Nick Fury. So yeah, I don't know. Again, the character story arc they went with wasn't as impactful as I would have hoped. So other characters, the Guardians of the Galaxy, were in this film for about 5 minutes. You don't really get to enjoy their characters. So yeah, a lot of that going around. I think they tried to, you know, use their creative freedom to just kind of remix certain elements of some characters, and for me, it just, you know, it didn't work because Gorr is just a very iconic villain for one. Thor, on the other hand, when it does come to the comedic parts, then it is very much a fun movie, as you would expect from a Taika Waititi film. But this time around, this Thor: Love and Thunder felt more like Free Guy than you know, Thor Ragnarok, which did set the standards really high. I don't know what it is. Maybe again, they didn't. I feel like they didn't choose the right story or the right villain for this. I mean, again, Gorr is a very dark, and he is actually very. His conviction to his cause is absolute, and that is what makes him a very frightening villain. Here, you know, he got anime protagonists. Thor pulled like an anime protagonist move at the very end, and you know, the ending was very somewhat anticlimactic for Gorr the God Butcher. So yeah, if you can tell, this movie is really revolving around how they played around with Gorr. But you know, again, when it came to the fun stuff, this movie is definitely a fun time. My main problem is when it came to the more serious characters like Gorr and Mighty Thor, Natalie Portman, Jane Foster, and her story arc, which were meant to be dark. You know, if you've been a long-time comic book fan, you know that Jane Foster's struggle with this is, you know, it's very dark and it's very sad, and again, mixed with Taika Waititi's comedy, it just felt really undervalued. So yeah, Thor: Love and Thunder just felt very template MCU movie type thing. They even actually there was, for me it was a very cheap moment where, you know, trying to boost the sales to kids for Disney. You know, let's boost sales for kids and have kids do cool stuff for no reason. So yeah, there was one scene where the kids were just going ham on shadow monsters, which makes no sense. Like, for the entirety of the film, Thor just solos everyone, and it makes sense because he is Thor, the God of Thunder, and yeah, that is what we expect for someone who literally destroyed most of Thanos' army in Endgame. And yeah, for that reason, I felt that it was a cheap way for Disney to, you know, encourage kids to, yeah, participate. And I guess for yeah, for me, like, again, this is coming from my point of view as a comic book nerd who loved the original source material. For, you know, if you're a casual moviegoer, then Thor Love and Thunder is definitely a good time. If you know nothing about Gorr, you'll probably have a good time. He is, again, a generic villain, sadly. And Jane Foster is Thor now for a bit. And yeah, overall, just there are some cool ideas. You know, it's just they should have picked one and just went with that. If they wanted to do a God Butcher arc, then they should have given us more gore, pun intended, you know, more blood, more violence. Make Gorr just a tragic villain, a scary villain, and, you know, just decimate all the gods. I mean, in retrospect, in the comics, Thor and Gorr battled through time and space, literally through the generations. We have young Thor, middle-aged Thor, and King Thor losing his arm, just fighting Gorr. And they even, all three Thors had to team up together to beat this guy. So 3 Thors were needed to kill Gorr. And yeah, he was actually going to create a time bomb that will kill all the gods in all time and space, in all dimensions. So, you know, that was pretty much a missed opportunity there. MCU, I'm looking at you, man. This missed opportunity. So just to recap, guys, villain was a bit lackluster. The seriousness of the story was a bit lackluster. The comedy was good, the action was good, the graphics insane. I think Disney / Marvel has fallen in love with the floaty building, mirror dimension type buildings, because they did that here too. Although it is beautiful, it is feeling like it is a style now for the MCU to have like magical floating buildings. So yeah, it was good. I mean, overall, the cast did a great performance. Natalie Portman is great as Jane Foster. Thor, I mean, Chris Hemsworth, awesome as Thor. Christian Bale, awesome as Gorr. But yeah, the overall story involving them really didn't use them to their full potential. So, with that said, we're giving Thor Love and Thunder an okay, a passing 7 out of 10. Just because, you know, it's still a fun time. Again, if you're not a solid comic book fan, you probably wouldn't care. But yeah, for us nerds, for the geeks who enjoyed the comics, it was pretty, you know, they could have done better. Especially with such awesome characters. So, what do you guys think? Have you seen Thor Love and Thunder? Again, they do have a special twist at the end, and is potentially hinting at a secret MCU character that not many know about. I'll give you a hint. Her name sounds like Angel. Well, it's not explicitly said, but you know, this particular character has strange eye markings, which is kind of similar, maybe. So, you know, maybe it is this character whose name rhymes with Angel. So, yeah, what do you guys think? Comment down below if you're a comic book fan, you probably know what I'm talking about. Comment down below if you think the same. And as always, if you like this video, do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and notification bell so you'll be notified of our next video. And as always, it's me, your bearded bro, QuickSilver 15, signing off. Poosh.